Welcome friends, in this video let's discuss about later Vedic period that was from 1000 BC to 500 BC. From our previous video, we came to know that the early Vedic period started during 1500 BC and continued up to 1000 BC. Okay, 1500 to 1000 BC. Here the later Vedic period started from 1000 BC, okay, and continued up to 500 BC. Here we know about the later Vedic period because of the stories and various accounts mentioned in the remaining three Vedas. Okay, that is Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharvana Veda, which were compiled during this period, that is later Vedic period. Okay, so we have totally four Vedas. Rig Veda, the oldest, which was compiled during the early Vedic period, and the remaining three Vedas, that is Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharvana Veda, which were compiled during the later Vedic period. So this is crux of the issue here. Please remember this. And these remaining three Vedas, which were compiled during the later Vedic period, had no independent existence. So they were dependent on the Rig Veda. Okay, so they provided clarifications and various form of explanation to the Rig Veda. So here, for example, Samaveda Samhita is was composed for the purpose of recitation. Okay, the prayers of the Rig Veda, okay, the original Rig Veda, the hymns of the original Rig Veda were set to tune, and these prayers were composed in a musical fashion for ritualistic purposes. So that was the main purpose of Samaveda Samhita. Okay, the prayers or hymns of the Rig Veda were set to tune, and this modified collection was known as Samaveda Samhita. Okay, recitation, that is Samaveda. Here, Samaveda Samhita is the source of origin for the Indian music. Please remember. And the next important Veda is Yajur Veda Samhita. It not only contains hymns from the Rig Veda but also the rituals, the various performances, that is sacrifices, rituals, which has to be accompanied along with the recitation of the hymns which were mentioned in the Rig Veda. For example, rituals like Rajasuya Yaga and Vajpaya Yagna mentioned for the first time in the Yajur Veda Samhita. So Yajur Veda is all about rituals which must be accompanied along with the hymns. Okay, Atharvana Veda contains the charms and spells to ward off the evil forces. These take credit from the non-Aryans. So the source of inspiration for the Atharvana Veda is the non-Aryans, non-Aryan culture. So that is charms and spells to ward off the evils and diseases from the tribes. Okay, so we know about three Vedas during this period, and later these Vedic Samhitas were followed by a different kind of text called Brahmanas. Okay, Brahmanas, a series of texts called Brahmanas. These are the books. Okay, Brahmanas. Now this is for the origin of Indian medicine. So these Brahmanas are the full of ritualistic formula. Okay, these are full of ritualistic formula. They also explain the social and religious meaning of these rituals through this text. Okay, composed during this later Vedic period. So rituals came into prominence during the later Vedic period, not the prayers. Okay, rituals has the prominence during this period. So each Brahmana, a text, is associated with one of the four Vedas. Okay, for example, Rig Veda has Atireya, Kaushaki, Samkhya Brahmana. Okay, so Atireya Brahmana is associated with Rig Veda. Okay, Kaushaki is also with Rig Veda, and Panchavishka, Shadvishka, Geminiya Brahmana were associated with Samaveda Samhita. Okay, and Kathaka Brahmana, Taitriya Brahmana, Shatapada Brahmana were associated with Yajur Veda Samhita. Okay, so Atharvana Veda has Gopath Brahmana as one of its associations. So these were about the Brahmanas. About the text and literature of the ancient India, I am going to cover that in the art and culture series, if possible. If you want that, I will cover. Otherwise, I will leave that for your self-study. So please mention in the description box below if you want that. And after that, Aryans expanded during the later Vedic period to the eastern parts of the Gangetic plain. Okay, earlier they used to occupy the Doab region. Okay, Indus Yamuna Ganga Doab, and later they extended to Ganga Yamuna Doab. Okay, to western Uttar Pradesh and the remaining areas during the later Vedic period. because of the use of iron and extension of agriculture. Okay, so ruling tribes during this period were Bharata and Puru. Okay, we learned in our previous video that there was a clash between the Bharata and their allies, and also on the one side, and 10 kings, a confederation of 5 Aryan and 5 non-Aryan kings on the other side. That battle is called Battle of 10 Kings, and finally the Bharata group won the battle, and one of the clan from the 10 10 kings, that is the Puru, okay, joined hands with the Bharata later after the war, and they formed a clan called Kuru, okay, Kuru. So they lived, this tribe Kuru lived between Saraswati and Drishadwati on the fringes of the Doab. Soon the Kuru occupied the Delhi and upper portion of the Doab called Kurukshetra. So Kurukshetra was a place for the Kuru clan, and this Kuru clan, along with Panchalas, okay, a ruling clan at that period, occupied Delhi upper and middle parts of the Doab, and they set up Hastinapur as their capital in the present day Meerut district. So this was the site for the Mahabharata epic. Okay, the Kuru tribe waged battle of Bharata, that is Kauravas and Pandavas, which was the main theme for epic Mahabharata, which was fought during 950 BC. Okay, 950 BC. Chronology was during the 950 BC between Kauravas and Pandavas. So around 600 BC, the Vedic people spread from Doab further east to Koshala in eastern Uttar Pradesh and Videha in the northern Bihar. So that was the chronology. And if you look at the changes which were happened during the later Vedic period, these changes were tremendous and path-breaking, because the people shifted from pastoralism, which were practiced during the early Vedic period, to settled agriculture. Now the settled agriculture became the chief occupation. Okay, sedentary life was led. Okay, the Sabhas and Samiti Vidaha, which were the main deliberative bodies during the early Vedic period, which exerted huge influence on the king's decisions, were delegated. They were sidelined. They were given less power and importance during the later Vedic period, and women were also prohibited from participating in the Sabha, who were permitted during the early Vedic period. This is important. Later Vedic period, women lost their importance, and so is Sabhas and Samitis. The power of king became stronger, and that of the popular assemblies receded. Okay, the king gained power at the cost of popular assemblies. So the king became territorial authority, because they practice settled agriculture. The territory became important, not the cattle. Okay, territory became important. King became territorial authority. So in this period, the cow slaughter, cattle slaughter was performed during the sacrifices by the Hindus. Okay, hence enough bullocks were not available for agriculture. This was one of the reasons for the emergence of Buddhism, which professed the production of cow wealth for prosperity of agriculture and the people. Okay, during the later after completion of later Vedic period. So at this point, the cattle slaughter was performed for the sacrifices, and the food grains which were produced during this period was barley, but rice and wheat were become the chief crops. Okay, and rice was recommended for ritual purposes, and not the wheat. Okay, not the wheat. Rice was used for ritual purposes during the offering of sacrifices and prayers to the god of later Vedic period. Some of the later Vedic names of some of the food grains are mentioned here. These may come handy for answering the prelims questions, so please be careful. Rice is called Rihi, barley was called Yava, wheat was called Godhama, and sugarcane Ikshu. So these were the later Vedic names of the food grains, and the crafts were smiths, smelters, potters. They acquainted with black and red ware, blacksmith ware, painted grey ware. So these were designs of the pottery which were formed during this period. So black and red ware. So black and red color were there and the potteries, and black slipped ware, painted grey ware, and red ware. These were the famous pots during this period. And weavers and leather workers and carpenters were also present during the later Vedic period. Here the settlement found the faint beginning of towns were found, because Aryans led the village life. But during the later Vedic period, a faint beginning of the town was also found. Hastinapur and Kausambi were considered as primitive towns. primitive towns, not the advanced towns. So thanks for watching. I'm going to continue the series in the coming video. Okay, so thanks for watching. Please like my Facebook page, get updates. Link is given in the description box below, or type just www.facebook.com/UPSC General Studies and like and share that post on that channel.